to the Treehouse. This is Kag, and this is a View from Above tarot reading for Monday, August 26th. We're going to be using the Centennial deck today, and the layout will be the 9+1 energy reading. This is a reading for the collective, so take what resonates for you and leave the rest. Beginning of the week, it's sometimes helpful to look at what all the energies are in play this morning. I think some people are getting ready to go back to school, some people back to work. The end of what's in the United States is considered summer vacation. So I deeply shuffled these before I started the video. And so we are ready to look at the energies for the present, for the challenge, and for the wisdom. And we always tap a little to give them an extra blessing. Okay, so here we are today. Yesterday's reading was Speak Your Truth, and it was the Queen of Swords was at the heart of that reading. And so however that day went for you yesterday, I hope it was positive. This morning's energy is, again, the Five of Swords keeps coming up. And I when we do readings for the collective, it is the energy that's kind of out in the world right now. And things feel a little bit, in the political world, a little at odds. And we think about what's going on in the Ukraine and Israel. A lot of conflict in so many places. And this card is basically capturing the end of the conflict here. It's over. This is a stage card. You can see that horizontal line as if this is a stage drop, a background for a play. And you may feel like any one of these three people. This is the guy that's picking up the pieces at the end of the fight, saying, yeah, we're done fighting. This is the guy that's just walking around away, I'm done. And this one at the very back was brokenhearted. But whatever this conflict is, fives are the cards of change. And so change is in the wind. You can see that the wind is blowing those gray clouds away from the background here. And there is a lot of emotion in this card. Even though swords are thoughts and words, you're looking at a lot of emotion in that background. Water is basically the illustration of the cups. So a lot of emotion in this conflict. So let's look at the challenge for the day, and then we'll look at the clarifiers. The challenge is actually, it's kind of retrograde, isn't it, when we go from the 5 to the 4 in the same suit. But the challenge is to think about what your legacy is. This card is inside of a church. It is, you can see the stained glass window here, and the swords hung up in remembrance, perhaps, and the sword here horizontally on the mausoleum, the effigy on top. This card is really depicting what people did when their sons went off to the Crusades. They would make a coffin for them, especially if you were of the gentry, to remember the sacrifice. And so this card can be a card of illness and it can be a card of rest. But in this I think in this reading we're talking about how do we recover from this. So this is a card of rest and of recovery. And so at the end of this conflict, what is it that we need to do in order to come to a more peaceful place? What is going to be the legacy from this conflict? And the wisdom is the Page of Cups. The Page of Cups is a rather humorous card because how often are you going to see a fish jump out of a cup? So the cups being a great deal of emotion. Now we've got the emotion here in the conflict and the emotion here with the page. Pages are messengers of the king. If the king wants to send a message, he'll send the page. If you think about pages in our government, I had a sister who worked as a page at the U.S. Congress, and they run around with the messages, and they are bringing those messages from the king, sometimes the queen of that particular suit. And this one is a surprising message, as well, this is not one that you were expecting. So be open to being surprised, which is a great wisdom as you are resting. And sometimes we can't take in any more information when we are in the midst of a conflict. We need to relax in order to see or hear something that actually can get into our heads, because usually our heads are pretty full in the midst of a conflict. So we're looking at a conflict, a resolution perhaps, and a surprising outcome as we are prepared to look at the clarifying cards. So down here with the conflict, we have the Lovers, which in the old days really was called the choice. And it was about, choosing how you want to go into the rest of your life. It's having the wisdom enough to make a choice for a partner, for a job, for a home, for whatever. And so when I look at the choice, the Lovers card, sometimes this is also about loving yourself, your higher self, making sure that you are as much a priority as other people, which tends to be more difficult for female people than for male people, just in the way that we are socialized as human beings. Women have a tendency to take care of others first and leave themselves last. And so for those of you who identify as female, perhaps this is a way of saying, in this conflict, you need to choose yourself as well. When we look over here, this is the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is a card of, you can see she's got a blindfold on here, and she is ready to defend herself. And as somebody pointed out, these swords are not light, right? They are heavy, and she's holding those across herself in a way to defend herself. But to defend yourself with swords would be somewhat difficult. She has closed off her eyes so that she can hear the emotions that she is feeling, her inner wisdom. This card is related to the High Priestess in the Major Arcana, so this is kind of the Minor Arcana version of being able to listen deeply to your own wisdom and being able to defend whatever it is that you think. And so whatever has happened as a result of this, you have an opinion that you are trying to connect to deeply and to choose yourself. Choose yourself. All right, the challenge is about resting now. This has been quite an altercation, and you need to really recover in order to move on. And that means emptying your head of whatever this is. And our Temperance card, which we had yesterday as grounding energy, is here to be called upon in the challenge for dealing with this. And the Strength card. So we now have 3 major arcana out of 7 cards. So this is a significant place. The 2 cards are cards of decision or balance, right? When you are trying to manage two things at the same time, you have to be pretty good at balance. This is also a card of 2. We're talking about choices here. And we are talking about the alchemy of the Temperance card, to be able to blend 2 things together in a way that maybe isn't really possible without some of that alchemical magic. And that may be what we're talking about here, the recovery from what this is, that you are now going to have to balance these two things as a result of what's happened here. And you are provided with the strength to be strong as you do that balancing. The woman in the Strength card has the lemniscate over her head, much like the Magician does. And you can see that she is taming a lion, which is sort of mastery over your more animalistic qualities. She's not doing this in a harsh way, but she is petting the lion, and she looks like she is taking very good care of him. And they are getting along quite well. I want to just point out the Blue Mountains in the back of your highest potential here, to be able to tame the inner beast, which goes along nicely with the Temperance card. So as you are resting as a result of, that's the challenge for what's happening here. Wow, it's a lot of heavy energy on a Monday. So let's look at the wisdom, which is the surprise, and to be open to that surprise, to be able to actually accept it. And there's our friend, the Six of Pentacles and the Emperor. So again, we are looking at 4 of these 9 cards, a major arcana. The surprise here in the message has to do with the giving and taking of resources. These guys certainly are happy to receive those things as long as there are no strings involved. So whatever the surprise is, my sense of this is it's less about an uneven relationship than it is the giving and taking of resources, and that may be the surprise here. The Emperor is a card of control. The Emperor is the sum total of all 4 of the kings of the suits. He is the last word in how things are going to go. So as I think about his energy in the surprise, is that maybe you have run up against some limitation here that you cannot get past. The Emperor is sitting on a cement stone, or a throne rather, and well, he has a little bit of water running behind his throne. Emotion is not the biggest portion of his strength, right? He is just the guy that has the last word. And so that may be the surprise here, is that there is something going on here where you have run up against some kind of an institutionalized power over which you have no control. But I would say that this is probably a benevolent power, and that there's something that you receive, and that may be the surprise in all of this. Just to look at the colors of these 2 people's robes, it could be that there's some benefit coming your way. A fun note is to look at this little pocket on this beggar that's sometimes called the lottery card, so that he is lucky in that he is receiving this gift from whatever. So yeah, this is some kind of conflicting energy, being reminded to make choices that are for your own highest good and to be able to defend yourself, and making sure that you take some time to rest and recover from whatever this is, tame the wild beast, and which I guess is to not come back with to whatever this conflict is. Be prepared for a surprise that's being handed to you or offered to you from someone with more power than you have. And let's look at Merryweather. And that is the 10 of Swords. So I see this as the end of a conflict, which certainly connects to this bottom energy of the present. As scary as this card looks, this is just telling you this is over. This is a release card. Whatever it is that this fellow has been involved in, he has finally just said, yep, I'm done. I'm done. His hand is showing the blessing of the Hierophant, which is a positive in the end of whatever this cycle is. The dawn is coming over those mountains of your highest potential on the far shore, and there is the water, the emotion involved in whatever this has been. The clouds are moving away. The sun is coming up. It is over. I find this card to not be so scary. It is a relief for me to see it. And so here we have that conflict of energies, the relaxation and the recovery and the surprise at the end of whatever this energy is. I'm kind of tempted to look underneath this card, and what I see is the Page of Swords. 2 pages, right? He is carrying the wisdom of the King of Swords. And it will remind you that the King of Swords is able to see both sides of a situation with clarity and with with truth. And so that may be the surprise here, and the message at the end of whatever this is. Truth and clarity. Here you go, and let's move forward. So that's what I have for you today. As I said in the beginning, this is a collective reading, so take what resonates for you and leave the rest. And I wish you a happy day, and I invite you back tomorrow for another View from Above reading here at the Treehouse. Blessings.